We are ready for our council meeting for the 18th. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to have a moment of silence and just remember those around us who are in need right now. We'd have a roll call.
Sir. Councilpersons Bear.
Here.
Dupre. Here. Ross. Here. Salcido.
Here.
Soar.
Here.
Tobin.
Here.
And Mayor Higgins.
Here. We got a few special things under the mayor's remarks. We'll take care of that first. We have a mayor appointment to the Safety Commission. Mr. Marinac, I believe you're here tonight. If you would step forward. Mr. Marinac has done a lot of things for the city, and we would like to welcome him back to the commission.
If you would raise your right hand, do you hereby solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Public Safety Commissioner to the best of your ability by saying I do?
I do.
Okay. You could just sign your name right above there. Then take that with you and get it back to me as soon as you can, okay?
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And since we're talking about the Safety Commission already, the chairman is here tonight. Joel Salmon, you would like to speak a few words?
Well, thank you for your time. I wanted to just come here and do a few highlights of the activities that we've had over this last year, some of the opportunities and challenges we face. But I'd first like to begin to talk about looking back when the people who founded our city and wrote our charter, the wisdom they had in crafting it the way they did, and the formation of the Public Safety Commission. Our Public Safety Commission is unique among all these communities in the fact that by this appointment, every year the mayor gets an opportunity to appoint someone for a 5-year term. And in the event there's an opening, then the council fills that position. The wisdom of this is highlighted in the fact that we see in many communities that when a new mayor, council comes in, there's a new police chief or fire chief. So this gives us continuity in the selection because it's the responsibility of the Public Safety Commission to interview and fill these positions. And that's one of the things that we do, but more importantly, we get an opportunity to have a city where the public safety is really in the hands of the public. And we meet every month, and we just changed our meeting times for next year. We're going to be meeting on the fourth Monday at 4 o'clock in this council room. We invite the public to come and hear the police reports and the reports from the fire department. Now, over the last year, just to give you an example, our police department is reaching out to the community as they do, have so many activities that they highlight, almost too many to number. But we have the Secret Santa program, the lunch with where they work at McDonald's, have coffee, and the activities they have, they've been present at almost every activity the city's had, from ringing the bells on Memorial Day and assisting in all the activities in the city. Now, this is a very busy police department, Now, I just have a report that to date, they've had over 28,000 complaints they've addressed. They've addressed over 1,000 accidents. They've issued over 10,300 citations. Now, they've done this under challenges, because initially, there was about 9 people short in the department. Now, they have sponsored individuals to go into the academy, both for the police and the fire department, and we are still about 1 short in the police department. And I'm not sure if we have 1 short in the... We're fully finally staffed in the fire department. We brought in some people, bringing them who had emergency response training, came in, sent them to the academy. Now, this is unprecedented in my history on the commission. There used to be so many people applying for these positions. For us to have to send people to the academy to fill these positions is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to hear that call to serve the public, either in the police or in the fire capacity. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for your support of the Public Safety Commission. And as I know you're going through a few more of the, you've just granted some, the patrolmen are very happy with their contract, I understand, and they appreciate that. So I want to thank you all for the work you do in cutting the checks to make this happen. So thank you very much, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the commission and all you have done. A few other quick things to talk about. It is that time of season, and I'd remind everybody that Fantasyland is open, and it is something that is special and a true gem for Lincoln Park. Take your time, take your family, go to Fantasyland. It is located in the Kennedy Memorial Building. Most people in town still call it the band shell. Please take the time, go see it. It's also because it's the time of year. The CIC is doing their Holiday Light contest. They will be deciding the winning on Thursday, so if you want to get one in, you have to get it to their Facebook this week. I have some really good news, very good news. I don't know if even the council has heard about it yet, but the grant that we received earlier this year, we were told about, we were going to get 4 streets fixed. It is now 7 streets are going to be fixed in our downtown area this coming year. So something that it's like a special Christmas present if we get to 7 streets fixed. And lastly, I want to thank our city manager. This will be his last meeting, public meeting with us tonight, and I just want to thank him for all that he has done for the city. You know, James came in on a very hard time. He came in the same day we closed for COVID, and he covered us for that. He was a city manager who was here for the ice storm, and he helped us get through that. And various other contracts and personnel issues and other things that have taken care of. And I just personally want to thank him and wish him the best, because he has done a great deal for us. And with that, we will move on to Plant Moran has a presentation for us tonight.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having a few minutes on your agenda to go over the results of the audit this year. We have good news to report. I'm Kristen Hunt. I'm the audit partner, and James Happela is here with me this evening as well, and we have a short graph presentation that will really take you through the highlights of the audit. But before we start that, I just wanted to give you a brief overview. Remember that we do 2 audits for you. We do a financial statement audit, and then you also get a grant compliance audit, and that's because you receive more than $750,000 $200,000 in federal funding. The primary amounts of that funding that you receive relate to CDBG funds and the state and local relief funds. This year, the state and local relief funds were the grant funds that received the audit attention. You spent over $2 million of those funds this year. Good news to report that we did not note any compliance findings, no internal controls issues related to that audit. You do have almost $17 million left to spend of that. So this year, the audit was focused primarily on, there were a lot of water and sewer improvements that we looked at, and then there was an amount too for the animal shelter. So those give you a little flavor of the work that we do related to the grant compliance audit. Really focusing, most of these graphs will focus on the general fund. You did have a good year this year, so you were able to add over $400,000 to your fund balance. That's better than budget, so you were budgeting about $50,000. That's a really good amount that you'll be able to see that James will show you. You've got over 20% of 1 year's worth of expenditures, about 25% in your fund balance. That's really important to be able to have that, and the city's worked really hard over the number of years to be able to restore and get that built up to that level. That helps you in case there's unforeseen expenses, some kind of a decrease in revenue that you weren't expecting, so that you really have that little bit of a rainy day fund there, if you will, to really help you out. So that's really, a good range to be in. It's within your fund balance policy, so it's, a little bit of a safety net there for you that you didn't have many years ago. So that's really good as well. A couple of challenges that you'll have to make sure that you keep your eyes on relates to the funding in the water and sewer fund. So that fund continues to have some cash flow issues. Your receivables are growing, so you're needing to borrow some from other funds. James will go over that with you, and really keeping an eye on those water and sewer rates that you have, and increasing them if it's appropriate as you go along. As I mentioned, you invested $2 million in the water and sewer infrastructure this year, and I know the plan is with the rest of that $17 million of ARPA funds to be able to, for the most part with that, add more improvements to the water and sewer fund. So more that you're able to do that, that will strengthen that system, it'll reduce the water loss, and you'll see that pay off over time. So that's just something to make sure you're keeping your eye on that. And then also the funding status of those pensions. So James has got some good news on that I don't want to take away, steal his thunder on that with some extra funding that you got for that after year end. And so those are the main highlights. Our audit went very well. Appreciate all the cooperation that we got from Lisa and James and everybody at the city that was able to provide all the information that we needed to get through everything. And we do, as I mentioned, we have a clean audit opinion. That's the highest form of assurance we could provide. There were 2 internal control recommendations that we have carried over from last year, and that relates to some journal entries. So anytime auditors assist with some closing journal entries, we need to mention that to you. That's a pretty common thing that we find with audits, that sometimes we have to help post some journal entries. And then also some others of segregation of duties, just due to the number of size of the staff that you have some constraints with that. But overall, really good audit to present, and I will turn it over to James to give you these graph highlights.
Good evening. As Kristen mentioned, I'm James Hopla, and I'll be going through some of these graphs that we hope will help present some high-level financial information of the city. This first graph here presents the past 5 years of fund balance for the combined general fund. During the 2023 fiscal year, total fund balance increased approximately $460,000. The 3 components of fund balance were non-spendable, restricted, and unassigned fund balance. The non-spendable portion relates to prepaid expenses for fiscal year 2024. The restricted fund balance represents the designated funds for a specific function. The $1.5 million was mainly restricted for the construction code costs in accordance with the state's Construction Code Act. Unassigned fund balance represents resources available to the city. The 2023 unassigned fund balance of $6.1 million is approximately 25% of the total 2023 general fund expenditures, which, as Kristen mentioned, fits right into the city's fund balance policy. This unassigned amount should be maintained for cash flow purposes, including unanticipated expenditures, downturns in the economy, investments in capital assets, and other non-recurring expenses. This next slide here presents the past 5 years of revenue for the general fund. For the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, total revenue increased by approximately $968,000 from the previous year. As you can see, the city's largest source of revenue remains property tax, which was pretty stable with last year's amount increasing about 3.4%. The fines and forfeitures revenue, which is mainly made up of funds received from the 25th District Court, increased about 330%, and the remaining components of revenue remained relatively stable from last year. Moving on to the next slide here, we have the past 5 years of expenditures for the general fund. There really haven't been too many significant changes to the cost structure of the city's general fund. As you can see from the slide, total expenditures have remained pretty consistent over the past few years, both in total and by category. For the current year, there were a few minimal overages when compared to the budgeted expenditures, but for the most part, the departments were operating pretty close to or under their budget, which means the department heads are operating as approved by council. This graph presents the City of Lincoln Park's pension information for the past 4 years. As you can see from the slide here, the MERS plan did decrease its funding percentage from 25.7 to 21.9 last year, from last year to this year. The police officers and firefighters retirement plan increased from 37.4 to 41.5%. The MERS plan is measured as of December 31st, 2022. And the public safety plan is measured as of June 30th, 2023. This does explain some of the variances with one funding percentage going down and one going up, as 2022 was a little harsh for investments. So hopefully that number bounces back for 2023. But additionally, the city did receive a large grant from the state of Michigan, which will increase assets in the plans. The MERS had $9 million in assets as of year end, but then received an additional $15.5 million. Which will more than double the assets that were in the plan. Police and Fire had about $33 million in the plan and at year end, and received $13.2 million, which will increase assets by roughly 40% for that plan. So some good results there with the additional funding. This next graph shows the water and sewer fund's operating revenue, which is that blue line, against its operating expenses, the red line, and operating expenses excluding depreciation, which is that yellow line. As you can see, the city is operating in a slight gain position for the current year, but if you exclude the depreciation expense, which is a non-cash expense, that margin increases pretty significantly. As far as the numbers are reported in the financial statements, the city had operating income of about $173,000 in the water and sewer fund, and non-operating items were included. And after non-operating items were included, a total change in net position of about $388,000. This graph is a quick look at the city of the water and sewer fund's current assets, current liabilities, and cash operating expenses, which exclude depreciation. The difference between the current assets and current liabilities is the working capital available to the city. Working capital represents the water and sewers fund's ability to pay current obligations or emergencies. As of June 30th, 2023, working capital was a negative $2.8 million. The entirety of the current assets are tied up in accounts receivable, and the water and sewer fund did have to borrow cash at year end. Additionally, there were no other fund balance reserves for investments in capital assets or emergencies within the water and sewer fund, and the city's water loss did remain pretty high, roughly 42%, but that number is consistent with prior years. As Kristen mentioned, as part of the annual rate setting, we would encourage the city to continue to set rates that will help them build up this working capital balance. With that, that's the end of the slideshow, but definitely we'd like to open it up for any questions that you all may have.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your report, but did you just say water loss is at 42%? Did you just say that?
Correct,
I thought
yes.
it was at 30-something.
42 is what we calculated, yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you. But good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice, very good report. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, if I could have some elaboration on that 42%. Can you tell me as of when?
That's for the fiscal year 2023, so from July 1st through June 30th, 2023.
June 30th, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Going the wrong way,
Going on?
42%.
Yes,
Well, if I may, that was measured before all those water main projects were done. this year. So I expect it should be improved next year, just because of the timing of when that report was done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good report. We will move on to our consent agenda. Resolved that the following items be listed under the consent agenda and be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. Approve the regular meeting agenda from December 4th. Approve the study sessions for the code enforcement, December 4th. Approve the accounts and claims payable. Attend training for the community center. Attend training for Parks and Recreation. Attend training for the police department. Adopt federal hardship guidelines and poverty and exemptions. Solicit bids, planning for consultant. Approve the sub-recipient agreement with the Senior Alliance. And schedule a study session for the Brownfield and 2100 Southfield. And schedule the public hearing for the master deed.
Support.
Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Next up is our Public Service Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to add on to what Mr. Krazan had said earlier before I stepped up here, what is not inclusive in that water loss, but will be next year, is this year, we've been approximately 80 water main breaks less than that of last year, so that's a positive. But to continue on, I brought before the mayor and council, GV Cement has offered to keep their same unit rates for both the concrete sectioning and the road reconstruction program. GV Cement is offering to extend their contract and low red unit rates from the 2019 and for the 2024 road sectioning and reconstruction program. GV Cement has been the city's contractor for these programs for over 11 years, and more recently for the last 4 years. Fiscal impact, there's a cost savings for extending these contracts due to price increases for materials and fuel. Recommendation is recommended Mayor and Council approve the GV Cement contracting contract extension for the 2024 sectioning and reconstruction program at their current unit rates.
So move.
Support.
Are there any questions? Then I will call for the vote.
Mayor Higgins,
Yes.
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
and Tobin.
Yes.
And I believe you're up again.
The next item is Hutch Paving contract extension for the 2024 resurfacing program. Background, Hutch Paving has been in the city contractor for the asphalt resurfacing program since 2019. This year, the cost of asphalt has increased from $94.50 per ton to $97.50 per ton. Although fuel and labor costs have also increased, Hutch Paving is requesting is asking Mayor and Council to extend their present unit rates with a slight increase in the asphalt price. Labor, fuel, and concrete prices will remain the same from last year pricing. If you are in agreement, the new unit rates for asphalt paving would be $128 per ton installed. My recommendation is that the mayor and council extend the same contract extension with the increase in asphalt paving by $3 a ton. And I've offered a resolution, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve Hutch Paving Incorporation, the 2024 resurfacing program contract extension, and approve unit rates of $120 per ton installed, an increase in asphalt pricing only.
I'll move.
Support.
To the chair.
Yes.
Sir, the Hutch Paving did nothing for the city above and beyond just what they were asked to do. When the city had a small project, they did not deviate, and they said that their equipment was too large to assist with any small projects. Now, that does not set well with me. If a company wants us to give them a contract, every now and then, it would be nice to have the public get something from the company. I'm just putting it out there.
I guess my answer to that is, their low unit rates are from 2019. And they've extended their unit rates to do the work of this past summer, including the more immediate work that's just outside in between City Hall and the fire department. And you're correct, they were and have been paid their unit rates for that. But best I can offer to you, and there is somebody here from Hutch Paving, but they're offering to keep their low red unit rates again for the city, which to me is a cost savings.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Well, they're just raising the price per ton by $3. The cost to install, how much has that gone up?
That one, I don't know that, but I believe it's only the $3, because there's other items included in the installation price. Mike, would you by chance have an answer to that question?
Yeah, that would be the cost of the asphalt material alone.
Okay.
That's the only thing we requested.
So the installation cost hasn't gone up, just the $3 cost per ton?
Right, if you look at our contract, there's 30 items. We're only asking for one item, $3, because asphalt kind of really fluctuated. And sort of answer your question, I'm not aware of anything that you guys asked us to do that we didn't do.
We came out and I specifically asked, and the city manager was supposed to communicate with you.
Asked who?
You, the Hutch Paving. Did you-
I'm sorry, don't go ahead.
That's okay. We had some potholes that we were trying to alleviate. So, and we were told that Hutch Paving equipment was too large to deal with potholes.
Never was asked. I've been this estimator for this project, and I've touched for 14 years. I lived in Emmons. My grandparents lived on, I can't even think of the other street there. They lived there when I was a kid, and we go to Cymax. I'm well familiar with the city of Lincoln Park. We lived here with my kids over on Emmons, so I mean, like to do a good job for you guys and everything. But I was unaware of anything like that. Anytime we've been asked by John to help out or anything, we've been happy to help. We did your shop, we did right here,
Okay.
So we were unaware that was asked. We do pothole patching all the time, so that's news to me.
Thank you.
Anything else from the council?
Through the chair, Your Honor, I believe Councilman Zor brought this up a couple of meetings ago, that, even though we're keeping our rates from 2019, 2020, fuel's going down, but I think the bidding process is something that we always need to consider in the future, okay? 'Cause I get this, you're only raising the $3 rate, I get it, but, there's other businesses out there too that perhaps they want to put a bid in. And I think it's a free market society that we owe it to not only the council but our citizens. So maybe we could get a better bid. We don't know. I appreciate you keeping the rates down low, but just, I know that's a thorn on your side, and even as a resident in the past, when we renew these contracts because of lower rates, I get it, but I think
May I
we'll
answer?
always be in the bid process in the future, okay?
Would you mind if I answer?
Sure, please.
Okay, so I did a lot of public projects. One we just did was, we did just Monroe Street in Taylor. The rates were about 20% higher. One of the reasons we keep them low here is because, and we're able to, is because John and Hennessy always have our streets laid out earlier in the year. So we're always looking for this type of work to get our guys working, because most of these guys are laid off until April. So we start usually late April, early May, and this gives us some place to put our guys. So we're willing to discount that to have that work. But you're right, you could put it out for bid, but I fairly doubt that you know, plus, you don't know who you're gonna get. I mean, I think the work we've done here is, if you look at the streets we've done and completed, and I don't think there's been a lot of complaints on us or anything, they've come out really well.
I got you, I appreciate you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you,
Dan,
Mayor and
you're up
Council.
again.
Thank you for your business.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Lincoln Park, the Fire Department solicited bids for nozzles and appliance. The Fire Department received 6 bids. One was from Allied Fire Sales. They gave no total. They did a per unit price for each nozzle. McQueen Emergency TFT nozzles was $67,503.78. MES gave a bid on Acra nozzles for $51,554.36. MES also gave a bid for Elkhart nozzles for $75,519.32. CSI did a bid for TFT for $72,503, and they also did an Elkhart bid for $63,166. The Lincoln Park Fire Department is requesting the Mayor and Council to award a bid to McQueen Emergency of Deerfield, Wisconsin, to purchase nozzle and appliances for the AFG award. Of the 6 bids, McQueen is the lowest best bid. The Lincoln Park Fire Department received a Regional Assistance to Firefighters grant on August 18, 2023 for nozzles and appliance. This regional grant includes the cities of Wyandotte, Brownstown, and Ecorse. The Lincoln Park Fire Department will host this grant. The total amount of the grant is $124,722 with a 10% matching fund as a condition of acceptance. The total count of federal money is $113,383.63 with a 10% of $11,338.37. A 10% match would be divided between Lincoln Park, Wyandotte, Brownstown, and Ecorse and be paid to the city of Lincoln Park. The cost of the purchase of nozzles, appliance is $67,503.78. Funds would come from FEMA with a 10% match of $67.50. Matching, which would come from the operations budget, $101,340,757. The city will be reimbursed by Wyandotte, Brownstown, and Ecorse for their portion of the grant. It is recommended that the mayor and council adopt the resolution to award a bid to McQueen Emergency of Deerfield, Wisconsin, to purchase a nozzle and appliances. Any questions?
Before I read the amendment, I want to say thank you for bringing them and getting the bids and taking care of it. A lot of times, citizens will ask us who is working on bids and who is doing that, and I'm always saying our department heads, our chiefs do a wonderful job, and I want to thank you for keep doing that. And I want to let the people know that this is who does the extra work. And with that, resolved that the mayor and council award McQueen Energy of Deerfield, Wisconsin, to repurchase the nozzles and appliances as they are the lowest best qualified bidder that meets all fire department specifications. Be it further resolved that the funds to come from FEMA with a 10% matching form operation 340757. The city will be reimbursed by Wyandotte, Brownstown, and Ecorse for their participation in this grant.
I'll move.
Support.
Hearing nothing, we will call for the vote.
Quick comment, Your
Oh,
Honor.
we do have
please.
a comment? Yes.
Yeah. If I could just please, just elaborate a little bit on these bids, because although McQueen is not your lowest bidder, they are for the type of nozzles that our department uses. I didn't realize that nozzles are not universal.
No. No, they're not.
Anything else? Okay, call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And with that, we will go to the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you know, this is my last meeting as your city manager. I'd like to thank everyone for their hard work and support these last nearly 4 years. As a group, we have weathered some significant storms, and we've made some amazing progress, though often overlooked. As I'm winding down my time here, I think it's important to reflect upon where we have been and what we've accomplished. When I walked into City Hall, the COVID-19 pandemic was just beginning to truly take shape. Schools were forced into remote learning. Most public gatherings were either canceled if they weren't outright banned. Restaurants were forced into shutdown. At that time, we still had people reporting to work, even though City Hall was closed to the public. On March 23rd, 2020, the governor ordered everybody to stay home and stay safe. Working closely with the Emergency Operations Center and our dedicated team here, we made the decision to send everyone home. We began remote work at that time. Through this time, we were facing serious financial uncertainty as we had no idea what was going to come next, and we were not yet in a position to handle another financial crisis. Again, the amazing team here worked hard to develop various plans and strategies to keep employees safe, to resume operations and find cost savings and revenue opportunities to allow the city to prosper in those difficult times. Though our plans continued to change, we were eventually able to reopen and continue to serve the residents, businesses, and visitors of the community, all while continuing to build on the strong financial footing of this city. The COVID pandemic did bring many different challenges and opportunities. Since the summer of 2020, the city has received more federal and state funding through grants and other programs than we could have ever previously imagined. This has helped the city's infrastructure and building challenges, and it's allowed the city to begin to truly address the long-standing pension obligations. This will go a long way towards securing the city's financial stability. However, the pandemic brought with it great challenges related to staffing. Hiring office and public services workers joined the enduring public safety hiring crisis. Though the last couple of years now, the city's vacancies have finally stabilized, it has led to an upward pressure on wages and benefits. Since the end of the pandemic, the city has continued its forward progress. We have completed some significant infrastructure projects. In 2021, the city was able to replace and relocate a massive water main that encroached upon a residential neighborhood. The water main had the ability to become a serious safety issue for the residents. We've continued to push forward with water main projects, and this year, we were able to complete 2 years' worth of scheduled projects in just one season. Our roads have continued improvement. The reconstruction of Austin Street was completed. The asphalt resurfacing program, as we talked about tonight, continues to provide residents with safer and more enjoyable driving services. Perhaps the most anticipated road project in the last 20 years in this city was completed this year when we were able to reconstruct Richmond, which was at the time arguably one of the worst blocks of pavement downriver. Over the past few years, we have progressed with facilities improvements. City Hall's newly accessible doors and the window replacement project has made for a slightly more comfortable working environment. The much-needed police department expansion and additions are creating the possibility for a more effective and efficient workplace. Before summer 2024, the highly anticipated animal shelter building will be fully operational and much improved upon the temporary building that the city has been utilizing for far too long. The city's progress these last few years has not been isolated simply to infrastructure and buildings. The city has seen continued improvements in operations. One of the most significant operational improvements we have accomplished over the last few years was the reorganization of the Parks and Recreation and Community Planning and Development departments. By separating the duties of those two departments, both have been able to grow on their own and improve services to residents and visitors. Other improvements that we've made were born out of the development of the 2022 strategic plan. In the spring and summer of 2022, a heavily collaborative effort between city staff and elected officials resulted in the development of the strategic plan, the first such effort in recent years. One of the most significant changes that this plan brought was the restructuring of the Code Enforcement Division. The strategic plan was the consensus we needed to be able to truly investigate the possibilities and to finally move forward with a new way of enforcing our codes. This is only going to continue to improve into the future. Looking through the action items of that strategic plan, the city has been successful in achieving many of the objectives. There continues to be more work to do, and the city must move forward to fully achieve a vision of a better community. And there is still much to be done and a lot to look forward to. The next few years will have some significant infrastructure improvements. This includes the rebuilding of Lincoln and Emmons pump stations, which are mostly covered through a straight grant. This is going to ensure the safe operation of the city's sanitary sewer system for years to come. Also funded by the state, the city has the opportunity to make some major improvements to the side streets throughout the downtown. This is marking some of the largest infrastructure investments in the district in years. This year, we were also successful in securing $2.5 million to address public safety through the replacement of lead service lines. In the coming months, City Council is going to be asked to consider approval of several items related to the former Sears site and the Brownfield plan. So while I am looking forward to my next adventure, I can look back with pride on what has been accomplished these last few years. I'm proud of everything we have done together. I'm proud of the team we have here in the city of Lincoln Park. As I prepare for the next chapter, I want to thank everyone for their hard work and support these last few years. Thank you to the elected officials for putting your faith and trust in me to achieve your goals. Thank you to the residents for staying engaged and being a part of this community. But most importantly, thank you to the staff who every day give the city their all and embody what it means to be public servants.
And again, thank you for all that you have done. That's a large list of accomplishments. Does anybody have any questions for the city manager?
I do.
Okay.
I'm stuck on that 42% water loss.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. I can't wait till we get the pressure relief valves. Hopefully that will help. But if we're 80, did you say 80, John? Water main breaks less than last year? Then how is it that we're still climbing?
So you have to remember in 2022, July and August were absolutely atrocious for water main breaks. So this was the last fiscal year, the one we were just reporting on. Also throughout that winter, you know, we had a slight break in fall, but then winter hit all the way into, you know, probably February. Things finally settled down in about February and then really calmed down throughout this year. So I think at this time next year when you're receiving that audit report, you're probably going to see a significantly increased or decreased water loss. Yeah. I'm not going to promise you we're going to be down to 30% yet, okay? But it should be significantly improved.
Okay, because I was kind of thinking, are we not utilizing our water detection equipment? You know, maybe, you know, there's more issues that we don't realize.
And I'm sure, right? There's still, you know, we have an old system. There are leaks that are going undetected. Then every water main break is water loss, for sure. So,
Are we, through the chair, are we using the water detection loss stuff we've had? I mean,
not
I
as
thought
much
we had
as
employees.
not as much as a preventative measure, but we are using it to more quickly find when the water main breaks are occurring and where the breaks actually are.
We still don't have staffing to actually go out and look for it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes.
Hey, briefly, I know we scheduled a study session for the Brownfield and for the Sears complex. Did we have a study session? Is this a follow-up from the previous?
Yeah, this is a follow-up because I think at this point now, the city's team is ready to bring forward, the plan and provide a recommendation that you either approve the plan, or if you have some concerns, some issues you'd like addressed, to deny the plan and send it back to the developer. This is kind of the next step in the process.
Thank you.
I think it's safe to say we were waiting from the developer and for the hotel management to come forward with some information. I think they finally come with the proper information that we can look at.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I would like to request a study session for January 16th at 6:30 PM to discuss the chief's contracts.
I will second that, so that's
Actually, not a study session, a closed session.
closed session, yeah.
What time?
6:30, January 16th,
For the scheduled
It's
council
a
meeting.
Tuesday.
Our meeting times are
Tuesday.
7, starting next year.
Yes, this is a Tuesday, it's the day after Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah,
So this would be an off day.
An off day,
this will be
yes.
an off day. It'll be the day after Martin Luther King Day, too, so that we're not having it on that day.
I have a mover, do I have support?
Yeah, I
Support.
support it.
Okay. Okay.
Call for the vote?
Can we
You gonna discuss?
just read it, please?
Sure. Resolved that a closed session be scheduled for Tuesday, January 16th, or a special meeting to recess into closed session be scheduled for Tuesday, January 16th at 6:30 PM to discuss the police and fire chief's contracts.
Thank you.
Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Well, I think it's important for this discussion to have. I would rather have it on a meeting day, so I'm going to say no.
And Zor.
Yes.
Well, this would be a backroom meeting, so it won't be for the public anyway, so,
I stand by my
okay.
statement.
Well, I just,
Okay.
all right. And with that, we'll move on to the department head. We have the fire chief tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before I start, I'd like to thank James. Good luck to you and your family. It was a pleasure to work with you. You were patient with me when I first started, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to start off by going over some response data. The run totals for the last 4 months, we had 2,810 total calls for service. We had 1,977 EMS calls. We had 53 fire calls. We had 27 building fires, 10 vehicle, 14 rubbish, grass or dumpster fires. We went on 7 mutual aids. We had 359 gas leaks, wires down, or carbon monoxides. We had 56 false alarms or good intents. Mutual aid responses for the year. We've given aid to other communities 13 times, and we received it 130 times. We've had 4 civilian fire-related injuries this quarter, and 1 fire-related fatality. The Fire Code Enforcement Team quarterly report, we did 159 inspections or re-inspections or certificate of occupancy. We investigated 11 complaints, and we installed 105 smoke detectors. The Fire Code Enforcement Team currently has 5 members performing fire and life safety inspections, ensuring all businesses in the city of Lincoln Park are safe for citizens, patrons, and employees. Lieutenant Gratup, Sergeant Gross, and Sergeant Norton have attended NFPA Plans Examiner and Fire Inspector 2 at Schoolcraft College this quarter. They will be getting nationally certified this December or January. Department training. Each month, every person in the department is required to complete training to
continue education credits to keep their medical licensure with the state of Michigan. Following are some of the training classes that have been completed. Trauma, EMS 1, Lights and Sirens, the Deadly Pandemic, Animal Bites, Customer Service, Medication Errors, Patient Pain Management, ALS, Transitional Fire Attack, Preventing Maydays, 2 things to remember with bleeding control, violent encounters and scene safety, and hot wash and post-incident analysis. There have been more than 430 total man-hours spent on firefighting training this quarter. This doesn't include the countless hours spent training at the station every day. The members who are on the specialty teams train monthly with their respective teams. Currently, we have 3 members on the hazmat team, 3 members on the arson investigation unit, and 1 member on the logistics team. Operations, we were awarded the AFG grant in August for $124,000. It was the nozzles and appliance that you approved tonight. There's continued training with our 2 probationary firefighters. This group of firefighters has done a great job. They represent the city and the department in a very positive light. The cost recovery ordinance that was passed in January has been in effect since February. We billed out $85,000 and we've collected $13,750 so far. This is an ongoing process, and each insurance company says yes and no. It's kind of challenging. The city has a new wireless emergency alert system, Code Red. I encourage you and every resident to sign up on the city website. The sign up is located on the home page of the city website. Other notes or activities, the Cleophas apron has been completed. Electricity was ran to the flagpole and an LED light was installed. The apparatus bay drain grates were replaced and the cement around the drain grates were repaired. The new apparatus doors are being installed currently. 2 have been put in. It actually makes it look like a fire station instead of an Amazon box store. The watchroom and administrative area has been upgraded and is more user-friendly to the public as well as the staff. We had our open house on October 8th. We had over 350 people attended. 9 elementary schools were visited in September and October. K through 3 were taught fire safety by our members of the fire department. Firefighter Cody Proctor and firefighter Samantha Poyle headed up that. They did a great job for the first time that they've done it. We participated in several truck or treats this year. Candy and hats were passed out to the kids. And Lieutenant James Fraser was Firefighter of the Year, nominated by his peers. He was recognized at the Exchange Club dinner on December 12th. Are there any questions?
I just want to point out, because the council doesn't go to the DCC meetings, that our department, both our fire department and our police department, are thought very highly downriver, and would like to thank you for representing the way you do.
Yeah, they're very happy. The hazmat team was just awarded a $110,000 UASI grant for a Gemini and radiological monitoring. So it's one step away from being a FEMA-type class hazmat regional response team. So, yeah.
Chief, if I may,
Yes.
I thought that the recoupment was typically in most people's insurance.
It is.
They're fighting that.
Well, they are. So some are in, there's a large amount of people that don't have full coverage. So in PLPD, they do not cover. Or if they don't have insurance, they don't cover.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I would like to comment that I am very happy every time there are events in the community. Our fire department and our police department has been at every event this year. I'm just very impressed with how you're working together now.
Well, my counterpart over at the PD, they do an exceptional job. And just to try to get to do half of what they do would be an extraordinary accomplishment. And that's, he does a very good job. His department does, he does.
Well, we're proud of both, for sure.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll move on to citizens' comments, if there's anybody who would like to address this body.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilor Richard Kudrak. Yes, I've been watching your meetings at home, more comfortable. We had the public safety meeting today, so let's recognize public safety, police and fire. I really appreciate everything they do for the citizens of Lincoln Park. And that's one of the things I said, if you're not safe in your own home, there's no reason to live in Lincoln Park. They're working under stressful conditions, financially and otherwise, and I really appreciate everything they do. Although it's not related to public safety, when I open up my free press and I see a big picture of the Secret Santa, I said, well, the police department has a lot of scheduling to do to make sure that that goes off smoothly, and those folks keep coming back and giving out all that money. So kudos to the police department for making sure Secret Santa continues the way it's going. I want to say a personal thanks to John Kazoo and the DPS. Every time I see those guys out there with a water main break when it's absolutely freezing, I said, oh my Lord God, that's not a job I want. So whatever you can do to minimize those water main breaks, I'm sure John and all the rest of the crew would appreciate your efforts. I came in tonight especially to thank Mr. Kazan. This is his last meeting. And I've had, every once in a while, I'm a seeker of information. As you all well know, occasionally I send an email or two. And I've had city managers who had no interest in responding. Sometimes residents just need a little bit more information so we know what's going on. But Mr. Kazan has been very helpful in the number and the detail of his responses. And when you hire your next city manager, my request is you get someone, make that one of their job descriptions, that when a resident is looking for information that you actually respond, instead of ignoring him like some of your city managers have done. Merry Christmas, thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to talk to the city council? Okay, with that, we will go on to the oral reports of the council, and we'll start with our council president.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, James, I'd like to personally thank you for your time here in Lincoln Park. Be proud of all your accomplishments and carry that into your next chapter, and I wish you the best. Also, residents, the first day of winter is fastly approaching us. Thursday is the first day of winter. Be bundling up and stay warm. And I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in 2024. That's all, Your Honor.
Tracy?
James, I too would like to thank you for your help over the years, particularly when we were starting, and you were very helpful to me, and I really appreciate that. I'd also like to thank everyone else for their cooperation and help this year. I've had some challenges, and we're coming through those. Otherwise, I'd like to wish, excuse me, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year's to all. Good night and God bless.
James, I wish you well in your future endeavors. I know that you will do well. The best to you and your family, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. Today at the Public Safety Commission meeting, there was an award given out. Civil citation was awarded to Kenneth Pesta, who gave assistance to an officer who was fighting with a suspect. So congratulations to Mr. Pesta on his citation. The police department is having a Santa drive-by on December 20th. It will start at 7 p.m. at Gregory Park. More information will be forthcoming. This will start at the community center at 3525 Dix. The route will be released tomorrow on the Lincoln Park Police Department Facebook page. Cops Care Skate Drive date will be Thursday, December 28th. This is free admission. Come out and skate with a cop. I won't personally be skating. You'll be happy about that. I want to give a big shout out to the Lincoln Park Goodfellows. What they've accomplished this year is just nothing short of amazing. The work that they put in, Matt and Patty Whirling have given so much time to do what they do. All of you, the officers, everybody, the fire department, thank you guys for everything you've done for the kids of Lincoln Park. It's just outstanding. And with that, last thing, Fantasyland, the last day of Fantasyland this year is Christmas Eve. They are open from 10 a.m. till 2. So if you haven't gotten your kids out there, the last day will be Christmas Eve. It closes at 2 o'clock. And everybody have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and stay safe. Thank you.
Leon?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a reminder that the Historical Museum will be open through Saturday, December 30th, so that you can still take in the Mixter School students' exhibit, their art and craft pieces on display there. Wednesdays and Saturdays from 12 to 6. The museum will be closed the month of January and will reopen February 3rd. And that will be just in time, too, for the chocolate walk that they're going to participate in as well. Can you believe, I'm already talking about stuff for next year. But, James, thank you for everything, and I wish you all the best in everything you do. Thank you to all our good fellow donors. The box downstairs was full, so that was nice. And just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Jason?
Yes, likewise, James. I certainly appreciate your efforts since you've been in Lincoln Park. Certainly appreciated your open door policy and the effort you took to me and Eric when we were both newly elected council people last year. That is a very big transition to make, and I certainly wish the best for you and your family in your next chapter. And then just Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to everyone, and stay safe and be thankful for what we all have this year. That's all.
I wanted to say to James that, the transition you made for us to bring us into the city on our first day, I truly appreciated that. Always had the open door, the accessibility to everybody, helping get questions answered. Not that I always liked what I got for an answer. But I wanted to say thank you and good luck for you and your family. With that, we're still collecting for Goodfellows. Drop boxes are still in City Hall and the Police Department for toys. The PD will also accept cash donations as well. Don't forget to skate with the police at the Community Center Ice Rink, December 28th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And with that, everybody have a safe and very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
And with that, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and call for the adjournment.
So moved.
Support. Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Dupre? Yes. Bear?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tovin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.